Hey everyone, it's Ryan with Aquarium Partners here at Fishy Business today. We're going to be showing off our new Exaqua testers, and we have them in both fresh and salt water. We'll dive into that a little bit more here in a minute. So before we get into the differences between the fresh and saltwater tests that we do have, why do we test our water? A lot of it's going to be more kind of designated to the reef. Everyone knows calcium, magnesium, alkalinity. We want to keep those kind of at a level so that way it's stable, everything's happy. With freshwater, some of your more red plants, for example, you want to keep your nitrates lower, you want to keep things dialed in a little bit more on those planted tanks, and we'll get into that. Fish are getting sick, fish are getting ick all the time. Why is that? Well, with testers like this, and you can do your data logging to really check and see what is going on in your tank and see and be able to track that a little bit better with these. So with that being said, you can still use these at the beginning. When you go to cycle a tank, well, you've got to make sure you're at zero ammonia, zero nitrite, and you can do that with these. Then it's getting just the right ballpark for what you're trying to do. You want that really cool thing, and you might be a little scared on getting it because you don't know. Well, with this, you can do your continuous testing for just simple nitrates and phosphates, and you can see that trend with these and be able to track it and see what you're doing. So with our freshwater and our saltwater, when you look off to my right and we see our freshwater test kit, you have your pH, your KH, your GH, your nitrate, nitrite, your ammonia, and phosphate. Then off to my left with our saltwater, we have our pH, our alkalinity, our KH, our nitrate, nitrite, your phosphate, PO4, your calcium, and magnesium. Let's open them up and take a deeper dive to see what's really in these. So when you get them, they are going to look like this. They'll have a nifty little carrying case. When you pull the cardboards off of these, you're going to see a little pamphlet in the back. It's going to have your license. Make sure you're going to go through the tester. We'll show you that in a minute. And it is active on there, because if it's not, it's going to throw some weird results and probably not let you do something. Now when you do open this up, you just got two simple clips like a suitcase. Open it up. Now on this one, because it is my personal one, where your charger would be, I have my charger in my car, so there is that. And then I keep some extra reagents and whatnot, because I am running low on a few of them. There would be area.We water here to clean out your vials and everything. I don't have that because, well, again, this is my personal test kit, and I keep RO on me. So with this is my saltwater test. I do have the freshwater license and everything on this as well. You're going to get your vials for titration method. You're going to get your closed vials for things like your pH, your alkalinity, general hardness, GH, things like that. This is how they're all going to come. They're all going to have little safety seals on them that you can just, when you unscrew it, they'll snap just like everything else. And then it's the fun and games, the tester. With that, you'll have your little USB charging port. And then it's just simple, follow the directions as far as, well, we all know what a power button is, and we'll walk through this. So with that, you're also going to get your instruction manual and just a little brief book on everything that we do offer as far as testing reagents and everything. With that, you're going to go through, power it up, you're going to get set your time, set your date, you're going to name your device and do all of that. You may have to go through and just hit OK on the calibration just to wake it up and let it do its thing. And then from there, you will go through and make sure your licenses are good to go. With that, I figure this is a good point to say it. If you do run HANA reagents, there is a license for that, so we don't have to completely discard all of that. With that, I believe that's $99.99 right there at $100, so it's not a complete deal breaker on price. And then from there, it'll walk you through just basics on how to do the test. We'll go through a few of those and show you how easy that is hands-on with the device. So with that, let's get into this. First thing you're gonna do, turn it on. Your power button's right here. And like I said before, it may go to a calibration instruction. You can just hit the OK and go to it. With that, you have your up and down arrows right here that you can use to get where you need to go. You can also use your 2 and 8 to do what you need to do. Up here, you got your enter button or select. So what you would do when you first turn this on is you would go through, and it's going to automatically prompt you to go to your date and time. You can follow those instructions and walk you through that, get it all set up to where you need to go. I need to go back now. I can go to the home button, or I can go exit. We'll go exit, come down, make sure our licenses are good to go. You'll hit select. You have your basic, your marine, and then do all of that, you would just hit new, enter everything, you're good to go. I need to go back to home. There we go. And then you can turn off your beeper and things like that. This is one of my favorite features because it does Bluetooth to your phone. You can download the Exaqua app and you can data log everything for that tracking to make sure you get what you need to get as far as keeping parameters at a nice stable level as best as you can. And then you can do your auto shut off and just typical stuff there. So with that, you can see that you have your methods, your users, things like that. Your methods are your test, and we'll get into some of those now. So with that, we're going to get hands-on with this now. We're going to do some tests. Probably just going to run you through your basic pH, which is a typical drop test like a Sarah or Seachem type test, Salifert. Then you're going to run into alkalinity test we're going to do because it's a two-part test, and then we'll step it up and we'll do a titration calcium test on it to show you everything that is there, and I'll give you 3 different variances on difficulty with it. So with all that being said, we're going to do some tests. We're going to do our pH, our alkalinity, and we're going to do our calcium to step it up as far as a single part, a 2-part, and a 3-part test. Let's go ahead and turn it on and get it going. So you would hit your power button, come through your main menu. You would go to your methods, hit your select method. All your methods are here. You'll find your pH, which mine's right there, and then you can match. Isn't that Z050? You can come down here and match it up. And then right here again, you do see that 050F, and then you see it on the M. Make sure that you select your marine for this case because we are doing our saltwater. You can hit select, and then you can go through and it'll hold your hand while you do this. So you can go guide and it'll walk you through. So first step, take your standard vial, open it up, get your syringe, 5 mils of water. I'll just purge it real quick, try to get the air out. Yet again, read that bottom of the plunger, that's saying 5 mils. We can come here, water in. Keep in mind, being that this is a photometer, you want to keep the outside as dry as you can. So we got that done. Then it'll tell us insert the vial and measure 0. So we can go ahead and measure the 0. And then it'll tell us add the 3 drops. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out. Open it up. 1, 2, 3. Put that back there. Just a quick little mix. We'll put it back in. And then we can hit our next step. It'll tell us to insert the vial and hit measure. So we'll go ahead and hit that measure. So right there we got a pH of 8. Right there you see the little record button. You can do that. And then like I said, it'll Bluetooth it to your phone. And that's it for that test. So we can just pull this out. We can go back to our home. Hit it again. There we are, we're back at the home screen, and we can step on to number 2 test. So with that being done, we'll move on to our KH test, our alkalinity. Yet again, we'll move to another standard vial. Get that open and prepped. Come to, that's me being slow. Go to our methods, select method, and then you'll come to your alkalinity, and then you will just match those numbers up, 0, 1, 0. So yet again, just make sure you're doing the right test as far as fresh or salt water. We'll go to that. Yet again, we'll go to our guide, and then it'll walk us through. Another 5 mils of water. And then we'll go to our next step. Just measuring it, insert for 0. And then we'll add our 1/2 mil. Pull this out. We'll come to our little syringe. Open this up. There's our 1/2 mil. Put our lid back on to not to spill the expensive stuff. Put that over there. Quick little mix. And then we'll go to our next step. Insert and measure. So our alkalinity is a little low in this tank, but we'll fix that here in a minute. So we're done with that. Let's go to our calcium test. So we'll dive into our next one, our calcium test. Yet again, we'll go to our methods, select method, and then from here, we'll go search for our calcium. You can see it here, 462. So we'll just come down here. And go to our 462 calcium. We'll hit select, and then yet again we'll go to the guide. So with this, it is a titration test, so you do want the one with the hole. So it's telling us to fill it with 5 mils of water. So 5 mil. We'll go to our next step. So it's 13 drops of part 1. Quick little shake. So we did that, mix it up a little bit. Go to our next step, add 1 portion of part 2. Part 2 is a powder. Pop that off, and then reach behind our little area right here. That's generally where all your spoons are gonna be. 1 part, right there. Put the lid back on the expensive stuff. And then just shake it up. And then you should see all those little particulates dissolved. So we did that. We'll move on to part 2. So let's go ahead and measure 0. That's dry. Insert 40. And then it's going to tell us to take 1 mil of part 3. Shake that up real quick. Now on this, you're going to get your syringe and your little needle point. Goes on the syringe like everyone else. A little bit more. All right, there's that. Now on this, just a quick kind of point of reference, being we are adding to here, that's extra volume that you will not have here. Always measure from the bottom of the plunger. So, go ahead and put that right there. Go to that. Now it's going to tell you to press the measure. You'll measure it, and because this is a titration, you're going to go ahead and just a little bit at a time, and then just shake it up. it starts to get going, you'll see that calcium number start to rise. And then once it hits 100, it'll beep at you. And then that's your stop. So from there, you look at your syringe. We go from our one that we had to where the bottom of the plunger is now. And that looks like about 0.7 of a mil. So here you have two ways of doing this. You can hold that and it'll scroll up to where you need to go. And then if you're impatient, you can just enter it. Keep in mind there is that first place. So 0, 7, 0. You hit stop. And that's our calcium test. So quick reference point with this, being we did test our alkalinity and our calcium, generally you'd probably follow that up with a magnesium test. Always test your calcium before you test your magnesium on this, because when you go to test your magnesium, the final step is it'll reference your calcium number to get you an accurate reading on that magnesium. So just a point of reference there. So with this too, probably my favorite device, or part of the device, is that it will Bluetooth to your phone. I'm on the Exaqua app now. So you can just connect to it, go through, and find it, aquarium partner test, and then it'll take it a minute to synchronize up to the device, and you can pull your data log, and I'll show that here in a second. So from here, you can see it's up to date. It does use firmware updates, so if there is something you need to do, it'll tell you. You can just go through here and do all of that. So you can go to log browsing and you can see all the tests that you've done, and then you can come up here and you can sort it by things, all of that. You can also go through and filter it however you want to. You can do all your dates, all of that. From here, we can do methods. Say you want to track your pH over a while. You can come here. And then you can do your line, you can do everything like that. So that way you can actually see what your tank's been doing over the past and get that idea for if something new did happen, you can help isolate it a lot better. And that's probably one of the biggest perks about this thing, is the accuracy and being able to track everything. So that's just a quick start guide on these new Exaqua photometer tests. And if you have any questions, stop on by at Fishy Business, call them, email them, do what you gotta do to get that information out. We have them in stock. We've got a variety of tests if you need. Come by and check them out.